I have a couple questions. First, if morality is derived from God, then how do you account for different standards of morality among different countries and civilizations and over different periods of time?
Yeah, excellent question. I think C.S. Lewis investigated that very question quite well in his book, The Abolition of Man, where he says that although there are differences among the periphery, he says that all major civilizations have agreed on an essential moral code. That you can't think of a society where, say, it was considered good that you double-crossed all the people kindest to you, or that you ran away from your friends in battle. He said you might as well think of a place where 2 + 2 = 5. You will not find a culture like that. But actually, the argument for morality doesn't require human agreement. If everybody disagreed with morality, that wouldn't mean that morality is somehow subjective. Imagine this. Imagine the Nazis had won World War II, Matthew, and took over the entire world and convinced everybody that murdering Jews was a good thing. Would that make it a good thing?
Of course not.
No, of course not, right? Because there's a standard beyond us. If we have morality wrong, that's not God's fault. That's our fault. See, that would be more sociology rather than morality, how people behave. We're talking about a standard. Even if we disagree with the standard, it still exists.
But then you assert earlier in your presentation about science, how science doesn't say anything, scientists do. It's a similar issue here with morality, because sure, there might be a God who sets specific moral standards, but that ultimately means nothing if that's not how people view society.
Well, no, because people have their free will to say that we're not going to follow the moral code. For example, we were just talking about abortion. You know and I know that when if you and I were right here and saw a live baby being dismembered, we would immediately understand intuitively that's wrong. However, we might suppress the truth about that because we want the convenience of not having a child in our lives. And we can suppress the truth. We all suppress the truth. It's not a matter of our cognition. It's a matter of our resistance to the implications of what the right thing is. We understand dismembering babies is wrong, but we may suppress that so we can have the convenience of getting someone out of our lives we don't want in our lives.
But again, sure, we may have that objective standard of morality set by a God, but that doesn't mean anything here on earth if that's not how we live and that's not how we view morality. That's still what's more relevant to us. For example, you bring up the Nazis repeatedly, how without a God setting morality, then we can't prove that the Nazis were evil. But still, we know Nazis were evil because we all collectively agree that what they did is bad. It's a standard of morality that exists because we agree that it exists.
So what you just said, though, just contradicted what you said earlier, because you said if the Nazis had won and convinced everybody that murdering Jews was right, you admitted that would still be wrong, even if everyone collectively agreed it was right.
Sure, if everyone in that hypothetical world agreed it was right, I would still know it's wrong because I accept the societal standards and I understand
Wait, Matt, no, the societal standard was murder Jews. That's the Nazi
I'm talking about the societal standards of morality within our life, within the real world.
Well, the Nazis were part of the real world. What do you mean?
Yes, but they didn't win. They didn't convince everyone on the planet that what they did was right. And we know, because everyone agrees that murder is bad, that we know that mass murder is also bad.
Okay,
it's like the philosopher Simone de Beauvoir asserts in her essay, Pyrrhus and Cineas, that ultimately, regardless of whether there is a God or not, there cannot be such thing as standards of morality set by God, because it's ultimately what we we agree it to be, and what we agree it to be can change and can be wrong.
Okay, but you're going back to what you said earlier. That's the problem. Because you said earlier that the Nazis would be wrong even if everybody agreed that what they were doing was right.
Yes, and I'm saying that from the perspective of my life in the world where they didn't win.
Okay, hang on. Let me finish the thought, Matthew. That would just be your opinion then.
Yes, ultimately, morality is an opinion. It's
Okay,
the
then stop
societal opinion.
All right, then stop right there. If it's just an opinion, then the Nazis weren't really wrong, correct?
The Nazis were wrong because we all agree they were wrong.
No, it's
there was also millennia in history when people agreed that slavery was right. Yet, looking back on those times, we don't today agree that slavery was right.
Okay.
We know it was wrong because the societal
let's stay on the
standard of
Nazis for
morality
just a
changed.
second, Matthew. Let's just stay on the Nazis for just a second, okay? So you're saying that the Nazis weren't really wrong because the standard is just human opinion. And so if everybody, all humanity decides murdering Jews is right, you're going to say that's okay, correct?
I would not say that's okay because
Okay, well,
I'm
you're
speaking for the
contradicting your
perspective
premise.
of our morality.
You're contradicting the premise then, Matthew. Either the society decides what's right, or there's a standard beyond society that is right, and therefore you can judge societies by that standard. Which is your view?
Yet ultimately, we can't judge societies by that standard because we can't possibly know that standard in this life. Even drawing morality from the Bible, we have fundamental disagreements on the interpretation of different passages, such as
hang on, Matthew. We can't go down a rabbit trail here. You just a few minutes ago had said that everybody agreed murder's wrong, and therefore mass murder's wrong. But now you're saying that people can't agree what's right and wrong. So which is it?
I'm saying we can agree. I'm saying we can't know for certain if there is a God, what that God believes to be right and wrong. We simply cannot know that in our lives.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because ultimately, what morality comes down to is what people agree it to be. For instance, a lot of people draw their morality from the Bible, and we agree on core issues of biblical morality, but we can still debate certain aspects of it. For instance, like when you say that homosexuality is wrong, that it's against God, yet the very passage that derives from is itself up for debate. For instance, we talk about
Matt, we can't go down every one of these. We got to finish anyway. But if I gave you a book, would you read it?
Sure.
Scout's honor?
You give me a book, I will read it.
All right, I'm going to give you a book, and if you don't read it, you're being immoral.
I would be being immoral because I'm betraying your trust.
Right, and that's wrong, universally.
Yes, because
Okay,
we agree that lying is wrong.
Thank you, Matthew.